Jnanatimidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitanjena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Vipa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurati Se Namaha. So we are continuing with completing our discussion on Siksastakam. We are in the middle of the 8th verse, and we began Srila Sridhar Maharaj's hearing Srila Sridhar Maharaj's comment. Yesterday we concluded with the Chatak bird, and we'll pick up from there. So we are in chapter Union and Separation in Golden Volcano Divine Love. So I'll go back just a little bit. Our attitude of surrender should be just like that of the Chatak bird, who always has his eyes fixed upward, praying for rainwater. Rainwater may come profusely, not only enough to fill up his small belly, but enough to drown his whole body. Thunder may come from above. A bolt from the blue may come and finish his small body and send him to the non-existent quarter. But still, the nature of that bird is to pray exclusively for rainwater. He won't take water from any other place under any circumstance. Our attitude towards Krishna should be like that. Whether or not he extends his gracious hand towards us, it is our duty to surrender unto him. In this connection, one verse comes to my memory. When Sri Krishna met Srimati Radharani and the gopis in Kurukshetra, after a long period of perhaps 100 years, he felt that he had committed a great crime by separating himself from them. So this is, this was due to, it was an eclipse, and traditionally, nowadays in the West, eclipses are like an exciting novelty, right? But in the Vedic tradition, they're considered inauspicious because there's some chance that the planets could collide, something like that, and it could be like the end of everything. And so traditionally, persons would gather at a holy place, like especially holy rivers, and like in case they may die, then they enter into a mood of prayer and worship. So at this time, Krishna had left Vrindavan. He was away for something like 100 years, and then this eclipse came, and so Krishna came with his party from from Dwarka, and he's like this royal prince. He comes with his entourage, and they come to this holy river at Kurukshetra. And meanwhile, the Brajabasis, the residents of Vrindavan, they also congregate in that same holy place. And so this meeting, by the arrangement of providence, takes place. And so Param Guru Maharaj is expressing, Krishna felt, he'd abandoned them ostensibly for so long, and so he's feeling bad, Approaching near the gopis, especially Srimati Radharani, and remembering their qualities of love and surrender, he felt like the greatest criminal, so much so that he bent down to touch the lotus feet of Radharani. One poet has represented the scene in this way, and that poem has been collected by Rupa Goswami in his Padyavali. Krishna was at that time the paramount king of India. But when he came in connection with the gopis and the atmosphere of Vrindavan, he felt like a criminal. And bending down, he was just about to touch the lotus feet of Radharani, when Radharani, drawing back, remarked, "What are you doing? Why are you coming to touch my feet? This is astounding. Have you lost your mind? You are the master of everything. No explanation can be demanded of you. You are Swami. You are my husband and master, and I am your maidservant. It may be that for some time you are engaged in some other quarter, but what's the harm in that? What is the fault in you for that? That does not matter, for that right is given to you by scripture and society. There is no crime, no sin on your part. You have done nothing wrong. I am the real criminal. The meanness is with me. The defect is wholly with me. You are not responsible for our separation, so why do you consider that you are faulty or that you have committed some wrong? The positive proof that I am the real criminal is that I sustain my life. I did not die from the pangs of your separation. I am showing my face to the world, but I am not faithful to you. I could not approach the standard of faith which I should have maintained for your love. So I am the criminal, not you. It has been written in the scriptures by the saints that the wife should be thankful and exclusively devoted to the husband. This has been ordained in the scriptures. A woman should be devoted exclusively to her husband, her Lord. So in this meeting, I should fall at your feet and beg your pardon for your forgiveness that I have really no love for you. I am maintaining this body and showing my face to society. I am not a proper... Didi, I'm sorry, would you mind, could you do that later? I think it's really, because it comes through on the record, it's quite loud here, thank you, sorry. I am not a proper partner for you, so please forgive me. You are begging my forgiveness? This is just the opposite of how things should be. What is this? Please don't do this. This should be the ideal of our affection for Krishna. We, the finite, should take this attitude towards the infinite. At any time, he may only give a little attention to us, but we should be all attentive towards him. And there is no alternative. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advises that we have exclusive devotion towards Krishna. And as we are insignificant, our attitude must be of this type. If we want such a great thing, then it is not an injustice that we should be treated hatefully. Our prospect, understanding, and adjustment must be that of self-sacrifice and self-forgetfulness. Just as when someone goes to fight for his country on the battlefield, there is no room for luxury or excessive desires. I remember in this connection that when Gandhi formed his non-violence army, one of the volunteer soldiers asked, "Please arrange tea for us." Gandhi told him, "The water of the river may be supplied to you, but no tea. If you are ready for that, then come forward." If we want to connect ourselves with the Vrindavan Leela of Krishna, we can make no conditions. Then we shall understand the method recommended by Sriman Mahaprabhu. Humility greater than that of a blade of grass. There should be no complaint from our side, not only in the external position of our present life, but even in eternal life, any complaint from our side should be carefully eliminated, and we must fully accept the ways of the Lord. Krishna may accept us or reject us. We have to take that risk. Only then may we make progress. So I'll just mention here, I know like some of the things mentioned here, they may sound a bit odd in a modern context, like this idea of the relationship between, husband and wife. But we are trying to appreciate the main point here. We don't need to get caught up in the details of the, context and, the like social, historical issues. We're trying to appreciate the broader principle that is being described here, which is that in our approach to the Lord, we don't want, what I mean to say is like, this doesn't sound politically correct in a modern context, but, we want to try to ignore those more superficial things and extract the main point, the main principle that is being made here, being presented here. That in our approach to the Lord, in our relationship with the Lord, our nature, our mood should be that we are trying to find our own fault, trying to correct our own self. We don't want to put any blame upon, any complaint upon the Lord. But, like another way, like Achyutananda put it, that disciple of Swami Maharaj, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj liked it so much. He said, Krishna is dancing, and he may treat me however he likes, And sometimes he may forget about me, sometimes he may step on me, but he's continuing with his dance, and that dance should have its free flow, That, from our side, the degree of surrender must be, unlimited, because he is all good. There is nothing bad there. There is no tinge of exploitation. So that mood of correction should be directed within. That is the point being made here. In some way or other, if we can enter the group of Krishna's servitors, we will find that everyone has such a nature. And when they meet together, they will console each other in their respective groups. In different serving relationships, there are different sections of servitors of a similar nature, and they console each other with talk of Krishna, Krishna Katha. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Makchitta, Madgata Prana, Bodhayanta Parasparam, Katayantaschamam Nityam, Tushyanti Cha, Ramanti Cha. When devotees mix together, talk about me, and exchange thoughts that give consolation to their hearts. My devotees mix together, talk about me, and exchange thoughts that give consolation to their hearts. And they live as if this talk about me is their food. It gives them a high kind of pleasure, and they find that when they talk about me among themselves, they feel as if they are enjoying my presence. So even if we may feel that the Lord is neglecting us at times, we will find comfort in the connection of the devotees. Te shamavanu kampartam ahamma jnana jam tamaha nashayam yatma bhavasto jnana dipena basvata. When sometimes the feeling of separation from me is very acute in my devotees, I suddenly appear before them and quench their thirst for my company. So these two verses are both part of the Chatur Shloki of Bhagavad Gita. There are 4 principal verses of Bhagavad Gita in the 10th chapter, like 8 to 11, 8 to 11, I think, of the 10th chapter. In this last verse of his Siksastakam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given another very fine and high type of solace. And this has been confirmed by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who has written, Baye Visha Jwala Hoy, Bitare Anandamoy, Krishna Premar Adbut Charit. Don't be afraid. Outwardly, you may feel a horrible pain of separation, but internally you will feel an unparalleled type of rasa, the most pleasing feeling of peace, joy, or ecstasy. Externally, there may be pangs of separation, but internally there is the greatest satisfaction. In this way, we are advised by the scriptures, and our practical experience corroborates our faith in this subtle matter. So even though one in this deep connection with Krishna, or one experiencing the depths of divine love for Krishna, externally it may appear sometimes that they are suffering, but internally there is unlimited sweetness. This verse, literally it says that externally it looks like they are suffering from the poison of a snake bite, but internally they're experiencing inconceivable amrita, nectar. Because this is a point that can puzzle some people. Like Srila Sridhar Maharaj mentioned how I think we mentioned this the other day, how he came across this one gentleman when he was doing collection and or preaching or something. And that gentleman, he said, how is it that you are promoting Lord Chaitanya as the highest? I've heard about the suffering he went through, and his, I've heard descriptions of his periods of divine ecstasy. We were hearing some of this recently, blood oozing from his body and shivering and tears and foam, and it doesn't all sound very pleasant. So how is it that you're celebrating this as the highest realization? And Srila Sridhar Maharaj answered with this verse. Superficially it appears like there is suffering, and on one level there is, but that suffering is only enhancing the sweetness, the intensity of the joy that is experienced within. This is, because more than joy, what we actually hanker for is intensity of feeling, right? This is why people climb mountains, right? They get that adrenaline. People get addicted. I've met people who've told me they're addicted to that, the danger of that. So what is that exactly? Would you just say that's happiness? It's more than that. There's an intensity of feeling in that. This is called rasa. So yeah, it's a kind of happiness, but it goes beyond that. It's an intensity of emotion, of feeling. So the most intense, what cuts to the heart deeper than just a static kind of joy, when it's, what's the word I'm looking for? There's this very specific word I'm looking for. When it's enhanced, but there's a more specific one. But when it's enhanced by a tinge of pain, when a tinge of sadness, it's like you watch a sad movie, it makes you cry, that. You're going to remember that more than just some happy-go-lucky, that can get a bit boring actually if it's all just peaceful and happy and perfect all the time. You need, what's the word? You need the happiness to be, I can't think of the word, but enhanced by, contrasted by, some degree of pain, of discomfort. Yeah, it's something like juxtaposed. It has to be juxtaposed with, but there's another more specific. I'm pretty sure, but I can't think of it. Anyway, augmented. Yeah, that works too. Augmented by, huh?
I'm looking at synonyms for enhance.
Yeah, those are all good words. Those are all good words. But anyway, I think the main idea has come across here. The English poet Shelley has written, "Our sincerest laughter with some pain is fraught. Our sweetest songs are those that tell of saddest thought. When we are reading an epic where there is cruel separation between the hero and the heroine, it is so sweet to us that although we shed tears, still we cannot leave the book. Because you could say, like, why don't you just stop reading that or stop watching that? You know, like, it's making you cry. But it's actually capturing your heart, like, more deeply than if it was just all happy and, happy and, etc. When we hear about the pangs of Sita Devi, how Ramachandra banishes her and leaves her uncared for in the forest, although she is with child, this is very painful. We shed tears, but still we read on. There is sweetness within pain. It is possible. Separation from Krishna is like that. The special characteristic of Krishna Prema is this. Externally, we feel extreme pain like lava. But internally, our heart is filled with some extraordinary, ecstatic joy. This is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us. As much as we can catch the meaning of his instructions, we shall be prepared for that kind of life. This is the fare to go to Vrindavan. And when we are introduced to so many others like us, then our joy knows no bounds. When we meet others who have the same nature and mind as us, we get solace from them. We need not be afraid. In spite of all these things, we should think firmly that there is our home, and we should want to go back to home, back to Godhead. We are not foreigners there. Here we are foreigners. Every man treats me in any way that he likes. But Vrindavan is most hopeful and full of the highest prospect. It is the place of our inner satisfaction. Srila Sridhar Maharaj also mentioned, like he says here, everybody treats us however they like here, right? And he also mentions another thing. He said, this world is no place for a gentleman. Because, like in an environment of like upper class, gentlemanly persons, everyone is respectful to one another, everyone treats each other in an honorable way. But here, anybody can treat anyone in any way that they like, No, it is no place for a gentleman. But Vrindavan is most hopeful and full of the highest prospect. It is the place of inner satisfaction. We aspire after that. We cannot but continue aspiring for our real home. What is real joy and ecstasy? We are not acquainted with that. This is our present trouble. Yet as much as we progress in Krishna consciousness, we shall become conscious of a practical feeling of real joy and ecstasy, beauty and charm. And in this way, we shall become more and more encouraged. Jamunacharya says, Yadavadi mama cheta Krishna padara vinde navanava rasa damanyudyatam rantum asit tadavadi bhatta nadi sangamis maryamane bhavati mukha vikara shushtu ishtivanam cha. Before I came in touch with the Krishna love of Vrindavan, worldly pleasure was of much importance to me. But now, if any mundane taste comes in my memory, my face becomes disfigured and I spit at the thought. So if we get a slight taste of that ecstasy, then at once we come to the conclusion that there can be no comparison between that and any peace or pleasure here in this mundane world. At the same time, once we are settled in that atmosphere, no pain can disturb or affect us in any way. There is another side also. Although we are advised to be prepared for painful separation, the fact is not so cruel in reality. Krishna says, Mayi te teshu chapyaham. I am always with my devotees. Wherever there is an exclusive devotee, Krishna is there like his shadow, always invisibly moving after him. This is the Lord's nature. Aham bhakta paradino hyasvatancha iva dvija sadubir grasta hridayo bhakter bhakta janapriya. The Lord tells Durvasa, I am the slave of my devotees. I have no freedom apart from their will. Because they are completely pure and devoted to me, my heart is controlled by them, and I reside always in their hearts. I am dependent not only on my devotees, but even on the servants of my devotees. Even the servants of my devotees are dear to me. We must be prepared for any unfavorable circumstances, but we must not be discouraged. Krishna is most affectionate. His care towards us is most acute and sincere. His affection towards us has no rival. Still, Sriman Mahaprabhu has given us a warning in this verse. You are coming to search after Krishna? Krishna is not a sweet ball from the market that you can purchase and finish so easily. You are trying to attain the highest of the high, so you must be prepared for anything. At the same time, the devotees will come to us saying, have no fear. We are all like you. Because are we okay for time? What time is it now? 9:13. Okay, good to time. It's only a couple of paragraphs. We can have this kind of mood, like you come across that mood, like where spiritual life is a kind of accessory, right? Like, oh, I love Krishna. Oh, I love kirtan. I love chanting. So awesome. But when you actually enter into the practice in a serious way, you realize, oh, this is not a joke. This is kind of intense. Are we prepared for that? Oh, I love that bag. Etc., etc. So Srila Maharaj is very nicely saying here, Krishna is not a sweet ball that you can buy from the market and just devour it in one bite. It's not like that. And if you really want this, like for real, because there are lots of people, they will sell you marketplace Krishna. There are lots of people out there who will do that for you. And you can enjoy that marketplace Krishna, counterfeit Krishna. But there's a ticket for the real thing. There is a price to pay, and that is unlimited degree of surrender and sacrifice. So are we prepared for that? You are trying to attain the highest of the high, so you must be prepared for anything. At the same time, the devotees will come to us saying, have no fear, we are all like you. Let us all walk together in a straight line. Don't be afraid, we are here. We are told that Krishna's devotees are even more sympathetic to us than Krishna himself. The solace of our life and our fortune is his devotees. And Krishna says, Mad bhakta nam chaye bhakta. One who is a servant of my servant is my real servant. Sadhu Sangha, the association of saints, is the most important and valuable thing for us. To make our advancement and progress towards the infinite, our association is our guide. It is all important. We must stick to this conclusion. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastre Koi, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. The conclusion has been given in the scriptures that all perfection can be attained by the help of the saints. Good association is our greatest wealth in reaching the supreme goal. Jai Shri Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. So that's the end of Param Guru Maharaj's explanation of the 8th verse of Siksastakam. I think we have time. We can finish. There are a few verses here which we didn't go through yet. Let me see. Yeah, we read that. Well, maybe actually we can stop there. Oh, okay, we'll read a few verses. So, thus overwhelmed by ecstatic love, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke like a madman and recited suitable verses. Purve ashta shlokori loke shikha dila, se ashta shlokar tapane aswadila. The Lord had formerly composed these 8 verses to teach people in general. Now he personally tasted the meaning of the verses, which are called the Siksastak. Prabhu Siksastak shlok jai pade shune, Krishna prema bhakti tar bade dine dine. If anyone recites or hears these 8 verses of instruction by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his ecstatic love and devotion for Krishna increase day by day. Yadyapiha Prabhu Koti Samudra Gambhir Nana Bhava Chandradoye Hoye Nashtir. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is as deep and grave as millions of oceans, when the moon of his various emotions rises, he becomes restless. Ye Jai Shlok Jayadev Jayadeva Bhagavate Rayana Take Jayar Karnamite Se Se Bhave Shlok Kodiyapatane Se Se Bhavaveshe Kodenasvadane. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu read the verses of Jayadev's Gita Govinda, of Srimad Bhagavatam, of Ramananda Rai's drama, Jagannath Vallabha Natak, and of Bilva Mango Thakur's Krishna Karnamrita, he was overwhelmed by the various ecstatic emotions of those verses. Thus he tasted their purports. Dvadashvatsaiche dasharachi dine Krishna rasa asadoye dui bandusane. For 12 years, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained in that state day and night. With his 2 friends, he tasted the meaning of those verses, which consists of nothing but the transcendental bliss and mellows of Krishna consciousness. Okay, maybe I'll stop there. I think we don't have much time. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai, Krishna's Kaviraj Ki Jai. So I'm very happy in these. It's been, how long? We've been here like 2.5 weeks or something, and we were able to go through the 8 verses of Siksastakam with the commentaries of our Gurudev and Param Gurudev. So it's been very nice. Now we're leaving tomorrow, and it's been very, very nice. All right. Do we have time to sing?
It's 9:20.
9:20. Okay. Do you want to sing? Feel like singing?
Just remind me of the tune of the Tadera Charana. I keep getting messed up on that.
Tadira charana sebi bhakta sanibas janame janame mohe abhilash.